Hello, everyone. Rice crop in Africa. Thank you for being here. My name is Roei Rosenman. I'm a business development manager at Empower Africa. I would like to start with an apology as one of our panelists is facing technical difficulties and cannot join us. And I would like to encourage you all to write questions to the panelists in the Q&A up there next to the participants. And we will answer your questions at the end of the panel. Now, let's welcome our speakers to the stage. First, I would like to ask Mr. Roei Yonai from Netafim to join us. Roei is the head of strategic crop, strategic solutions, and products at Netafim, the world's largest irrigation company and a global leader in precision irrigation solutions since 1953. Among his many duties, Roei personally leads the company's Global Rice Initiative. Recently nominated also as head of Ag Sustainability, Roei's wide perspective is built on more than 15 years of experience in the agribusiness world, from plant breeding and agricultural research to precision irrigation, crop marketing, and new markets development. Welcome, Roei. Thank you for being
Thank you, Ria. Thank you for this great introduction.
Okay. Our final speaker for this panel is Mr. Maoz Aviv. Maoz is the Director of Agriculture at Empower Africa. In his 20 years of serving in senior management positions as Chief Agronomist and Marketing Leader of top agriculture companies, Maoz has accomplished dozens of projects all over the world in consulting, business planning, and execution. His varied work experience includes one of the world's largest irrigation companies, a multinational food and beverage company, and various consulting firms. His broad perspective allows him to strategically advise governments, multinational agricultural companies, and institutions, while also technically supporting farmers and ag-tech startups and help them grow. Hi, Maoz. Thank you for joining us.
Hello. Thank you, Ria.
Great. Let's just start right away. Why are we focusing on rice? Rice is the third largest produce staple crop in the world, with 755 million tons produced per year as of 2019. Rice feeds and financially supports hundreds of millions all over the world, yet its farming technology has not changed much in thousands of years. Currently, there are about 160 to 170 million hectares of rice fields in the world. Further area expansion is unlikely, but rice production must increase to meet the growing demand. In most of the developing world, including Africa, rice availability is closely correlated with food security and has a strong impact on political stability. This way or another, it's hard to imagine the world without rice, and there are real challenges regarding its production and value chain efficiency. First question goes to Roei. Roei, you are very much deeply involved in the rice industry. What are the most interesting current trends that you see within the industry?
Well, thanks, Roei. I love this question. So we do see major changes in main rice markets, but the common for all of those changes is farmers' desire to increase the efficiency of the crop, trying to convert rice farming from traditional occupation into profitable. To do so, all inputs such as land, labor, and of course water must be maximized. This is the main trend. People are trying to do rice farming a real business. Other trends that we see around the world are desire of the farmers to add a high value crops into the crop rotation. This is very important, okay? Not growing rice on rice on rice, but adding another crop like tomatoes, like onion, like sweet corn. All of this can boost the profitability of the crop and increase the ROI very fast. So this is a second trend. Another trend is farm consolidation. This is a very interesting and important topic. I think we're going to touch it later, so I will leave it for later. And of course, food security. Everybody is speaking about food security, local food production. This is critical in many places. For sure, this is critical in Africa.
Great, thank you, Roei. Maoz, same question to you, trends.
Yes, so definitely, as you mentioned, rice is one of the biggest crop in the world. And recently I was involved in my previous work in some ag techs and few initiative, and I noticed for 3 trends. One is adding biostimulants instead of the regular irrigation fertigation solution, because most of the rice around the world is not irrigated yet. As Roei mentioned, I learned that in some places around the world, people start to use biostimulants in order to bring much more effect and liveness and make the soil much more healthy for rice production. That's first part in moving and adapting more technology that will come with drip irrigation, with more fertilizer and using more varieties. Beside of that, I recently learned that in Nigeria, there was one initiative of one USA citizen that moved to Nigeria, and he opened a company that under the name Hello Tractors, and they are like doing a Uber initiative for tractor for rice production. They are taking farmers that they have their own tractor, they are putting a GPS in that tractor and they're monitoring the movement. And if somebody in the surrounding area need a tractor work for a few hours, he can rent it from the owner of the tractor. And in this way, again, machinery, it's a huge have a huge impact on the rice production. So that's also something new. In general, using machinery for planting and for harvesting the rice, it will be a major jump because most of the farming around the world are smallholders, and there is a lot of losses because of not using the right technology. So in my perspective, this is the new trends.
Thank you, Maoz. Following up on losses and the things you just mentioned, I want to ask you specifically about specific changes in the rice industry happening due to the new COVID reality. And if you could kindly also share examples from your work as Director of Agriculture, how is it affected by the new reality?
So there was a bit of a stress during the beginning of the COVID. Some major countries that produce rice and export to other countries like India, like Vietnam, and like Indonesia and other. In the beginning, everybody was under panic and they didn't know what will happen. And they kept their rice, what usually has been exported to African countries and to other countries, even in Europe and in the States. They kept it in-house. That was causing some stress in governments and even stabilities, some pressure on the political issues. And a lot of government decided to do a food security program in order to increase their own rice capacity, or their own rice growing. Yes, in the beginning it was because of a pressure, but right now they are looking for a long-term solution. This is the place that government, and I'm calling to all the people in this event and for the government to look and find a solution that already exists, like what Roei is presenting, and like other companies are bringing value to the rice chain. There is possibility to grow much more rice on the same land. It's only now a government initiative to take it forward. My own perspective, we work on a food security program for Sierra Leone government, and we invited the concept of a rice regional center, a place that all the small farmers can come to this center, purchase seeds, get some bags of fertilizer, and mainly the know-how of how to do rice production in a better way. And then we, as a regional center, that was part of the program, can purchase from them the rice back. They don't need in the beginning to pay money as long as they bring some of the production in the end of the day. That was only a small part that I share with you related to food security in some initiative that we create in Africa, specifically in Sierra Leone.
Thank you, Maoz. Roei, back to you. Please share an operational or technological improvement you have been involved in developing in the recent years to improve specifically the rice industry?
Yeah, so drip irrigation for rice is by any means the biggest revolution in rice cultivation, and I'm saying it loud and clear. Now, Netafim is dealing with research and development of drip irrigation solutions for rice for the last 15 years. This year, we are very proud to announce that we are moving from R&D into commercial phases. We have more than 1,000 hectares of commercial rice fields all over the world with great results. Now, let me give you some numbers. Rice consumes around 40% of the total fresh water worldwide. Drip irrigating rice can save 60 to 70% of the water amount for rice. So you understand by yourself that this is tremendous. Now, this is not all about water. If the average yield for rice in Africa is around 1 ton per hectare. Moving the crop into a drip irrigated crop can bring us to yields of around 6 to 7 and even 10, 11, and 12 tons per hectare. So this is 6 and 7 and 10 times more yield. So as I opened, drip irrigation for rice is by all means the biggest and the most important revolution for rice cultivation, and this will lead the world for another place. And also by drip irrigating the rice, we can have a better use efficiency of land because we can do double and triple crops, and we can add, as I told you before, other high value crops. And on the way, we can help the world. I'm sure you know that rice paddies are in charge of methane emission. This is a very strong greenhouse gas that influence the ozone. By moving from paddy into drip irrigation, gas emission will decrease for almost zero. And the last bonus, you probably know that rice have a heavy metal called arsenic. Arsenic is bad for consuming, is bad for people, is worse for babies. And again, by moving from paddy into drip irrigation or into aerobic irrigation, it can be also sprinklers, you reduce the arsenic in the grain rice for zero. So you can save water, better land use efficiency, no greenhouse gas emission, and healthier rice. This is a true revolution.
Amazing improvements. Thank you, Roei. Maoz, given the projected growth in population, what is the most significant technological solution to boost the global rice production in the future?
I think that what Roei mentioned definitely is the first one. I mean, bringing to the paddies and change it, take it to irrigation and move from small scale, small farmer, garden rice production to big, huge scale of rice production. Adding to that the technology that it's available right now, like planters and harvesters, and adding to that using the right variety. That's mean to understand deeply the know-how of the rice production. Again, let's look at the number that Roei mentioned. 1 ton per hectare, the average in Africa, can be 11 ton per hectare, the average in the future. The growers, the governments, the business people need to understand how big and how huge is the potential. This is the time to take it forward. Adapt technology. Adapt, don't be scared. Take one step forward and you see the change is coming.
Amazing. Thank you, Maoz. Again, a question for you. From your experience, how does the African rice industry specifically differs from the rest of the world? And maybe you can share one example for that.
Yeah, so again, I think Africa, compared to the rest of the world, I'm sorry to mention it, but if it's not commercial companies that doing rice, so they are the lowest production per ton per hectare. They are facing difficulties in not availability of water, less availability of know-how and fertilizer, and also varieties. There is many places in Africa that the pH of the ground is different from place to place. and the farmers are facing a lot of difficulties. The issue is government and organization are less supportive compared to Asia, compared to India. If you take India, for example, when in some countries in India, the government subsidize irrigation, subsidize fertigation to help the farmer to take the first steps forward. In Africa, we are not there yet. So this is, I hope, the next steps. I think that when they start to adapt technology and understand the benefits it can bring to the continent, that will be the future of the rice production. Because we cannot ignore that most of the available hectares around the world for the future of food production, it's in Africa. Also water, but is not available to the farmer. This is the place when we need to combine. This is the place when companies like Netafim need to come in and to start to do big projects with government and start to cooperate with big professional business and push everything forward.
Thank you, Maoz. Thank you. Roei, next question for you, and that would be the last question. The questions from the Q&A from the audience. What is your tip to the investors here in the audience who are interested in the industry? Is there any specific area or specific product they should be watching?
Great. So I will focus on 4 main issues. First one, and this is, I think this is my most important tip. You need to change mindset from traditional agriculture into a business set of mind. Changing how you think. As Maoz said before, this is a holistic solution. We need to bring everything from field preparation through harvest. Everything need to be changed. Changing set of mind. So this is the first. Then I said it before, adding the high value crops into the rotation. This is critical. If you want to do business, you can't just account on rice. You will never earn a lot of money by doing rice on rice on rice. This is not good, not for the soil and not for your business. Add high value crops. Third one, farm consolidation. We need to bring many farmers into the table. If we want to bring water from the river for 1 hectare of rice, or if we want to bring water from the river for thousands of hectares of rice, the cost will be not the same, of course, but it will not be that far. So it's much better to bring the water for thousands of hectares, and then the cost for 1 hectare will be much lower. So these are my main tips. But the first and most important one, as I said before, change the set of mind, moving from traditional agriculture into approach.
Amazing, Roei. Thank you for these tips. Maoz, is there any tip you want to add before we go to the Q&A?
Yeah, I think, again, the first jump of a regular farmer is to understand the potential that he can achieve. He can move from just surviving to earn money and to make a very good business if he just start to adapt technology and understand how can it be grow in a better way. That is the future, and that's the place we need to go. That's all.
Thank you. Thank you, Maoz. So the first question from the audience is from Claude Mukala. And his question is, can rice production and marketing be profitable for smallholder farmers in Africa without subsidies from governments? Maoz,
I'll take
Roei.
it on.
You can take it.
Please, Roei, thank you.
Yeah, we have the same
Okay.
question. The answer is yes, definitely. Please, Roei.
Yeah, so as Maoz said, I think the answer is of course yes. But again, you need to work for it. Okay, this will not. If we'll keep doing 1 ton per hectare, it will never be beneficial for no one. You need to change the way you are working, to put money, to invest money in the beginning, earn money later. Okay, so this is how it works. If you're not investing, you're not harvesting the money. This is as simple as that.
Great. Thank you, Roei. Second question from Miki Lazar is he's focusing on women, African women. What can a woman farmer do? Would it be better to go for rice? Would you suggest for women farmers to invest in rice?
I think that the answer is exactly the same. I think the answer is exactly the same. I mean, a farmer, it's a farmer. A business, it's a business. It doesn't matter if it's a woman or man. In the end of the day, rice farming, it's a lot of work. Today, in the traditional way of doing farming, most of the people that on the ground are children and women. So if you take it forward and you start to adopt technology, it will be easier, faster, and much more efficient. I can tell you from my experience that I saw in the Gambia, some big villages that organized, all the women organized together, and they start to do a community farming, and it was much more efficient than the previous community farming that was managed or was leads by men. So yes, definitely, whenever a woman, and it doesn't matter man or woman, want to do business, if you do it in the right way, it will work.
By the way, one of the advantages of converting paddy irrigation into drip irrigation is that you can do dry sowing. And then, as Maoz said, you can use machines. Once you're sitting with a tractor, it's much easier than transplanting by hand. So yes, it's good for women, it's good for men, same for both.
Okay.
Technology is the key.
Great, thank you. Thank you so much. It's already time for us to finish this quick panel and get back to our networking session. I want to thank both of the panelists for a great discussion. Rice is indeed a vital factor in the global efforts to promote food security in the developing world. We learned that there is much room for the rice industry to become more efficient, and we thank you for your great insights. Now, you are all welcome to continue networking for the next 30 minutes before our next panel. We also invite you to visit the Code Monkey booth. Code Monkey is a fun and educational game-based environment where kids can learn to code without any prior experience. After completing Code Monkey's award-winning coding courses, kids will be able to navigate with a sense of confidence and accomplishment. Thank you for listening and have a fruitful networking sessions.
Thank you, Ria.
Thank you, Ria. Thank you, Maoz. Bye-bye.